Hey guys, hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Shortened trading day today, 1 p.m. we have a close at. Just looking through some stuff this morning. Wanted to bring to your attention a couple speculations that are kind of fun to play if you guys are interested. I know we focus mainly on turnarounds and high quality issues, but especially for our swing trades. But this is a more of a day trade or a short term trade, and I'm not recommending it. I'm just saying there's probably two or three of these lately that you could probably keep your eye on. Anything that's mentioned Bitcoin or been involved in Bitcoin or used Bitcoin as uh, a story or theme in their stock has really rocketed lately. So day traders are kind of scouring the internet looking for companies or any type of news on public companies that are involved in Bitcoin. And there's been a few, like Riot was traded pretty heavily the other day, and these all took off from kind of long baselines and made 30, 40, 50%, 100%, 200% moves, depending on which one it was. But GROW is the only one that really makes any money. I'm not going to get into the details of the company, but you can look at the chart here and I'll tell you what's interesting about it. Is that you do have a big high volume spike breaking out of a long base and then breaking through this kind of a downtrend here. I could probably illustrate a little bit better, and I'll make a synopsis of what I'm saying here in the below the video, but the video link. But you can see obviously the breakout here on the weekly. Remember, these are weekly, so we can use wicks and tails if we want. There's the big breakout. The interesting thing about this is you do have a high, but it's not. It's a high volume high of all the preceding weeks, but it's not as high as the volume we just got when we returned back to the pivot, which is kind of interesting too, because you have this little channel line pivot in here. And look at this thing rocketing, just completely taking off from here. And it did close midline on the candle, but now we're starting to gap up a little bit in pre-market, albeit on low volume given the holidays, and we have a shortened trading day today. Just kind of an interesting stock to look at. I mean, if you get above 395 on a close, there's really not a lot left. I know we have some wicks up here in the fours, but this thing could run up into the fives, quite easily. And it looks like they're buying it along this lower trend line, which would put this in the area of 250 or so. We're actually still closing out the week here. So interesting though, no doubt about it, that you do make a higher volume, double the volume than you did on the pullback high day. We like to see that on a continuation move. So just want to keep an eye on there. Quick look at SVXY coming into our target around the 114.90. That's actually moving up now. You do have a MACD cross, which is really interesting considering the time frame and that we're really not at my S&P high. So you do have SVXY a little bit stronger than the market lately. They're just crushing volatility. So I would expect that 114.90 target that we have to hit. That's actually moved a little bit, and it's closer now on the daily to around 115.10. We could push through there and then kind of waffle around a little bit, given that it is a holiday, but I do expect it to hit at some point today. I thought there was a chance that it would hit on Wednesday's trading session, but we fell a little bit short, obviously. I would say support is probably around 112.20, with the low end around 111.75 area for SVXY. And here is QDN Inc., the new IPO that deals with online, I hate to say it, but it's almost like an online loan shark. Earnings were explosive. We've been talking about this one, trying to get a position in it, looking for a 4-8 cross to the upside, and it's been nothing but down every day on the news that the Chinese government's really cracked down on this type of this segment of investing and loaning. A lot of these loans are super high interest. They back them up with violence. Very speculative company, but the growth is explosive. If that news hadn't come out, it was definitely still speculative and with risk inherent on the business model, but no denying the numbers. In fact, Alibaba even has an investment in the company. So not good to see it like this. The news has got to settle down a little bit, and they need to be a little bit more definitive about what companies are allowed to do in this category. But needless to say, I almost pulled the trigger on the 16s on this. I would wait for you guys to hear me tell you that I have taken a position in it before I look into getting into this yet. Obviously, technically, there's no bottom here. It is an IPO, so we have no historical reference below the dates that we were looking at right here to gauge where this is headed. We thought we'd see some support around the 16 area, and you could see it in here on your 10-day 30 minutes. Didn't happen, and we're obviously gapping down in pre-market here about 8%. Volume's fairly heavy too, so really hard to catch a falling knife on this one, but no doubt about it, once things are cleared up and if their business model is still somewhat intact, which is going to be obviously decided by the government of China, this thing could take off, especially if they actually tell you that their business is allowed, yet the other loan sharks, I guess, is for lack of a better term, are not allowed to operate under their current structure. So if they do allow this type of a loan and they shed favoritism to certain companies, and QD is one of them, obviously it will be explosive. But how they define or differentiate between the companies is really the big question here. Here's our EKSO Exo Bionics holdings. I bought some shares on Wednesday and looking to add it if it gets down to 250, and then I'll set a stop. I didn't chase this giant move like a lot of people may have done. I'm in a little bit more comfortable. I'm in at 330, so basically where we're at right here is break even for me. I will add around the 250, 260 area, and then I'll set a stop probably just under $2, where the original retrace was from the move. Pop back up, pull back down. Right in this area here, I wouldn't want to see it go under there. It also coincides with another directional change. So I'm looking at that $2 area as a longer term support. Interesting company. This stock has been extremely volatile. Looking at the chart over the 1 year here. But I do like the long baseline right in here and then the pop back. I just want to know where it's going to pull back to. That's the key on this one. It may not even get back to the 250 area for me to add. It may start to trend back up, but given the volatility I expect, if it does get back up into the $4 area, it's going to have trouble getting back over there until it gets a little bit more time under it. Here's our TREX, TREX, the composite lumber manufacturing company. We nailed the bottom there pretty good, 102. Now we're starting to curl back up. We hit an all-time high and then some energy off there. Obviously, given the move that we have, when you start breaking all-time highs, the smart money will sometimes know that a lot of the day traders or shorter term traders are piling on and they'll sell into that. So you get a little bit of energy off that area. Obviously, it's going to need a little bit more time to continue to grind through there and then break three as sellers start to wash out and buyers start to overwhelm them. So still holding. Then here's our recent retail pick, Caleres Inc. And we got an interesting day. We opened at the bottom of the candle on earnings from the prior night, which I thought were actually very good, even though they came shy, I think 6 or 7 cents. I tried to listen to the conference call, but it was putting me to sleep. And then we closed back up where we kind of needed to. I'm just under break even here on this one. So I would continue to hold this until we see some different chart formation over a short period of time to see if we can't make a consolidation and a push to where I'm thinking it's going to go to around the 34 area, 35 area. And then a quick look at our CSTM. It's a first in our series of small caps that we think are going to be good holds. Interesting companies. This is probably the least exciting one of the ones that I've been researching, but nevertheless I did buy some. Kind of figured it would pull back out of this area here, and I'm not going to show you all the moving averages, but it did touch some different channel lines and moving averages that I expected, and now we're starting to curl back up. So a nice close on a daily, getting above the prior highs. It'd be nice to see if we can get it back above this 1040, 1050 area. It has some weird trading spreads, but looks like it's on its way. It's going to be a slow mover. Kind of reminds me of CAMT, which we're still holding and looking pretty good on. Just a quick note, Apple looks neutral here. Gold still kind of doing what we expected. It's kind of bouncing along that longer term trend line on the miners. Not a lot of energy. We popped a little bit and they sold into it, so very neutral here. Nothing jumps out at me, but if anything else comes up on the radar for us to swing trade that I feel is a safe company with good fundamentals, other than the speculative ones I mentioned this morning, I'll go ahead and shoot you guys a deal. But it's going to be a shortened trading day today. Hope everybody has a great day and a awesome weekend, and we'll regroup next week.